Hi, Barbara the bookkeeper here with Balanced Bookkeeping Professionals. And a question I get a lot is what's the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant and a CPA? And so I thought I would just do a quick video to explain some of the differences as I understand them. This does not constitute legal advice by any means, but we'll talk about who you can get legal advice from. So up at the top here, we have bookkeeper. So that's what I consider myself. The bookkeeper is the person who might work for a company and keep track of all of the expenditures and the bank statements and the income throughout the entire year. Or in my case, I own a bookkeeping company, so I work with clients. I don't have an employer. I work with clients and I keep track of their bookkeeping all year. And that ends up producing a financial statement at the end of the year that they can take to their tax preparer to get their taxes done. So the financial statements usually consist of a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. And I will explain those in separate videos for you. So the bookkeeper does kind of the day-to-day, month-by-month entries, literally all the transactions that are happening for the business, usually in some sort of accounting software. I personally like to use QuickBooks. So that's what a bookkeeper does, keeps the books, quite literally. A tax preparer is someone who is designated by the IRS at whatever level to be able to file your tax return for you. So H&R Block, those people are tax preparers. There is something now called an enrolled agent that is a specific certification by the IRS. It's a specific designation, and that person is ultra qualified to be able to do taxes as designated by the IRS. But tax preparer is kind of a little bit more of a generic term, but there are some qualifications that are required there as well. So I also do some tax preparation, but when I do my tax preparation, I do it in the office of an accountant or a CPA. So I'm working under their umbrella, helping them with the tax prep, but their name would actually be on my client's tax return because I'm not an enrolled agent. And as of yet, I don't have a desire to be. I'm quite happy being a bookkeeper and a tax preparer. So moving down the levels here, or up the levels really, the accountant, typically an accountant will have a degree in accounting. It's not always a specific designated thing. I could call myself an accountant if I wanted to, but a true accountant does more big picture stuff for the business, more looking at the big picture, looking at the year in review, planning for the year ahead, budgeting, that kind of thing. And they can start to become an advisor for the business in terms of planning and account strategies and such. Beyond that, once somebody does have an accounting degree or two, the CPA is usually a master level degree and a state board test that they have to sit for, similar to an attorney sits for their law boards. The CPA has got a very similar rigorous exam and many requirements before they're even allowed to sit for the exam. CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. And as you move through the levels here, the prices, as far as the hourly rates, are going to become more and more expensive. Okay, so I charge a lot less than a CPA. A tax attorney is going to charge more than any of these other designations here. So a tax attorney, if you are having business litigation issues, if you need representation with the IRS, some of these other designations can also represent you with the IRS, but if you get something really sticky business situation or maybe an estate situation, you might need the expertise of a tax attorney, and obviously they are attorneys and they're experts in their field. So I hope that clears up a little bit about all of these different designations. I have worked with CPA firms many times, and I have great respect for that level of education and expertise. Oftentimes accountants and CPAs will specialize in a specific area, maybe a specific type of industry such as nonprofits or international accounting, and the amount of continuing education that happens year after year, because tax laws change, so much changes throughout the year. And when the IRS makes a change, I remember when I was working for a CPA firm in Arizona, we would have these lunch and learns to keep up with the ever-changing tax law. Tax law is huge and ominous and always changing. And I remember it was October or November, we had a continuing education where we all sat in, and the IRS had just made a new law or a new statute that was retroactive to January 1st of that year. So the CPAs, no matter what their specialty, they all had to learn about these different laws and then go back to their clients and say, I know we've been advising you to run your business this way all year. The IRS just passed a law and now it is retroactively effective. So that's the kind of stuff that happens all the time. That's why these people are worth their weight in gold. Okay, they're going to charge higher hourly rates, but there's a reason for it. And when it comes to getting your taxes done, even with a tax preparer, typically they're going to be using software that help them with the tax prep. And the software helps to take all of these new laws and ordinances at the state level, at the county level, and at the federal level, all of these new tax laws that have come into effect since the previous year. The software helps to combine all of that. And sometimes I hear people say, gosh, why does it cost so much to get my taxes done? I know from working with CPAs and in their offices and helping with tax prep, every extra form that you need on your tax return, such as if you earn income in multiple states, or you have this type of business or that type of business, the software company actually charges the tax preparer or the CPA office for each single form that's filed. So it's not that they're just being greedy and jacking up the prices or anything like that. They literally are paying for every form that they file through that software. But without the software, you'd be talking about volumes and volumes of old tax law, current tax law that they would have to keep in their heads all the time. And that would be quite ominous. So I hope that that explains a little bit about the different roles. If you have any questions, you can always call me. I'm Barbara the Bookkeeper with Balanced Bookkeeping Professionals, and I'm good at the things that you don't like to do.